Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to episode 4 of the BOOM. And of course, I am your host with the most, Cam G. And of course, on the bottom is the man on the ones and twos, my co-host, as always, the Will Gray. And today, we have another co-host moving forward, my man, all the way over from the table spot, Metalcore Mike. Gentlemen, how is your Wednesday evening going?
Good. Just hanging out, chilling, taking the time, relaxing.
Absolutely.
What about you, Mike?
Same thing. Just hanging out, chilling after a long, hard day at work. Came home, watched Dynamite. Really good show tonight.
It was a good show.
Absolutely. So we are going to dive into Dynamite tonight. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I didn't think Dynamite was going to be all that tonight. But Dynamite was definitely a very impressive show. That is, if you ask me, that is how you do a go home show for a pay-per-view. So that was pretty damn good. So we get into it. We start off with the trios match with the Elite versus Bullet Club Gold. Of course, they have the entrances, and then it breaks out into utter chaos on the entrance ramp. This ends with Kenny Omega getting beat down, of course, but then FTR comes out with the save, and he almost hits the one-wing angel on Takeshita, but Takeshita nearly escapes with his life. Gentlemen, what do we think of this? I'm going to start off with Metalcore Mike. What did you think of this?
Hot start to the show, first off, with the brawl that broke out between the Elite and Bullet Club Gold. I'm really glad that this brawl ended with Omega and Takeshita in the middle of the ring. And I kind of wish Kenny would have hit the one-winged angel. Kind of send a message. Like, the Elite are the top dogs. But at the same time, I know it's something you want to save for Sunday. So, right now, the way it looks, the Elite has the upper hand going into Sunday.
I would think so too. Definitely, this was designed to, kind of save grace for the pay-per-view. It would kind of be pointless to have a full-fledged match when they're already going to have a match at the pay-per-view. So that's what this was designed for. But hey, it's still delivered regardless. Will, what did you think of this?
The opening match?
Yes.
Or the opening segment?
The opening match, yes.
I feel
it wasn't really a match, but
the opening segment for me seemed, I don't want to say disjointed. That's probably not the right word for it. I felt like the whole show seemed very. It's the very classic Will Gray approach. It was good, not great.
I feel you.
You know what I mean? And that's going to be the mantra of the whole night. I feel like from open to close, it seemed like they were playing a lot of the hits. They were playing it safe. They were making sure everybody got from A to B without getting hurt. And I think that's important on a go-home show. There were peaks and valleys, which isn't bad for a wrestling show. So it's a good start, not a great start.
There was a lot of interview segments, which for a go-home show, kind of, I can't say it threw me off. I guess it's something that we're not used to seeing for a go-home show is a lot of interview segments. Like, we're used to seeing kind of like throwaway matches or matches to set up for pay-per-views. Like, for example, you have tag team matches that happen at the pay-per-view. So you have a guy from each team face each other in a singles match at the go-home show. Or like interview segments that happen in the ring, but break down to lead in. This was a lot of sit-down backstage segments for this show. And that, I can't say it's a bad thing. It's definitely a good thing to introduce us to what's going to happen on Sunday. But and they weren't bad segments either. They were good interviews. And there's one interview that I want to get into in a few minutes. Once we get to that point. And I'm speaking about Adam Cole. but it definitely was definitely a different type of go home show with all the interview segments that happened.
For sure. I definitely agree with that. I think with this, the thing that I think I didn't really like too much, because I feel like that was a very WWE thing for them to do, was they have like this tagline where it's the biggest pro wrestling event and da 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 da, and they said that like multiple times throughout the show. That's typically what WWE does. They have this tagline and they continue to like drill it in your head so you don't forget what the tagline is. So that was a very WWE approach, I think, for AEW. So I feel like they don't really know how to necessarily I don't know introduce this kind of a show on this scale, this big of an event. So they kind of just was like, okay, let's try something new. Let's try like a new element. That's why I feel like there were so many interview segments and as opposed to like past shows. So
I think why AEW did that to kind of present it as one of the biggest pro wrestling events, because when WWE, like you said, WWE kind of makes this approach. When WWE makes this approach, though, and if you guys agree with me on this, disagree with me on this, that's fine. The way WWE approaches is they approach it as one of the biggest, like if they do WrestleMania in a stadium like Dallas, 101,000 people, they premiere it as the biggest sports and entertainment spectacle. Where AEW, when they present things, they'll present it as just straight up like they use the pro wrestling moniker.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where WWE will present it as sports and entertainment.
I think
that's what they were going with. I'm sorry, Will.
No, you're good. I'm going to kind of piggyback off of what you're saying, because I think I have you're absolutely right, Tommy. $20 is $20. I think I have the bridge to connect what you're trying to say. Okay. When WWE sells an event, they will sell an event as the biggest show in wrestling. Okay. In WWE's wrestling bubble, meaning in WWE's world, it's the biggest wrestling show in the world. Okay. Because in WWE universe, the Collision in Korea didn't happen. That's 108,000 people at a show for 3 days. But no way, that didn't happen, because that's not in the WWE bubble. When AEW says they are booking the biggest show in wrestling history, they mean all of wrestling history. You know what I mean? Like this isn't a bot show. They sold tickets. Now, the big hiccup with all of it is Tony made a comment yesterday on the media call, and somebody asked if WWE says they set records or beat a world record or did any of that things. Vince McMahon and the corporate team from WWE would put out a press release, and they would show the numbers and the analytics and the statistics to back up their world records. Yeah. The reporter, and I apologize, no free shout outs. But the reporter asked, what would Tony do in that scenario? And you know what Tony's response was? I shit you not. He goes, I don't know. I've never had to do anything like that before.
Well, that's our fearless leader right there, Tony Khan. We're gonna tell you.
I love Tony Khan. It was a fun call.
The other thing is too is with WWE, when they do big shows, you're just seeing people from WWE in those shows. Where with this show, we're seeing wrestlers from New Japan, we're seeing wrestlers from AEW, we're seeing wrestlers that, obviously they're from the indie scenes and everything like that. Like Will Ospreay mentioned during the contract sign tonight, he's wrestling at an indie show on Saturday, and then he's going to be wrestling on Sunday. He's doing an indie. So that's why I think there's more of the difference with it too, is AEW has people coming in from all over, to where WWE has it just in their bubble.
Thanks for the sub, Matt.
What's going on, Matt? What's going on, Jen?
Thanks.
But anyways,
bye, guys.
Moving on here. We are going to go to Renee. Renee catches up with MJF, and this was like, I think it was one of the first. Yeah, this is probably the first of interviews for this go home show for All In.
Yep.
And MJF, he talks about, his match with Adam Cole. And he talks about how, him being under a lot of pressure. He threw out a lot of big names there with a lot of big WWE names out there as well about those being the giants. And he has the potential to become a giant in front of 80,000 plus at All In. So, well, what is so funny too is, he calls Adam Cole not just his friend, but his brother and yada, 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 all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. Personally, like I said, I'm loving the storyline. I'm still not buying it. MJF, like I said, do not trust the devil. That man is going to turn on Adam Cole. I feel it in my bones. He's already pulled this once. You're not fooling me again. I'm not buying it. So yeah, I'm just not. Mike, you look like you're thinking. So I'm gonna go with you. What do you think about this?
So I've been saying it since the beginning. Maybe close going towards the middle of this whole storyline. This all started back in June between Adam Cole and MJF. Having that match that came down to the time limit. Adam Cole asked for the extra 5 minutes, and then the friendship stuff just started building from there. Everybody says that MJF is the biggest heel in professional wrestling. I disagree with that. He's not. In this situation, Adam Cole is the heel. MJF is not. I think Adam Cole is going to turn on MJF. Because MJF, he can play babyface, he can play heel. Been saying it for a long time. MJF can have the crowd behind him. He can say one of the most outlandish, asshole-ish things, and the crowd will boo him, but then he can get the crowd to turn back with him like that. Adam Cole playing this babyface role, I'm sorry, it just does not fit. It doesn't. And I think Adam Cole is the heel in this situation. And I think Adam Cole is going to prove me right when he turns his back on MJF. And it's going to happen on Sunday during the buy-in match for the Ring of Honor tag titles.
Whoa.
Matt says he agrees with you. He feels like the turn is coming during the tag team match. It's very possible. It is very possible. Ginger, no, you cannot. That's not ever happening. A nice try though. That's not ever happening. Will, what do you think? Is MJF going to be the babyface coming out of this, or is he the heel that I think he is?
I have two trains of thought on this. In my heart of hearts, I think if they wanted to do this the right way, where did that echo come from? Okay.
Echo.
Okay. If they want to do it the right way, what they'll do is they'll be real fucking sneaky here, okay? Double turn. All right? Double turn. They're in the match, all right?
Mm-hmm.
The buy-in match. What happens is Roddy comes out and costs them that first match, okay? All right, Roddy comes out, costs them the first match. There's dissension going into the main event. All right. Throughout the show, you use that like an old school Memphis technique. You start with what's going to be in your main event, right? So you use that build of that dissension through till your main event comes around. When your main event comes, what happens is you have the old switcheroo. You have Adam Cole go to cheat on MJF and get caught. While the referee's catching Adam Cole, he pulls the diamond out, sneaks the win in there, pulls it back off. Everybody thinks Adam Cole's going to be the one to do it. MJF waits for him to show he's going to do it first, then does it so it's okay. So he's still your scumbag.
I like that. I honestly like that a lot. Yeah, I think that would be the way to go. Because, I mean, I like that. I like that a lot. That seemed like it would be a very interesting turn of events.
You know,
but we'll see. We'll see what
like
happens. But we'll see what happens. Okay, so moving on. We have our first match of the night. We have technically second. Ray Phoenix versus John Moxley.
You got to say his name the way they do when he comes out to the ring.
We're going to go with Will on this one. Will, what did you think of Ray Phoenix versus John Moxley?
Oh, Cam, I love you. You're one of my favorite podcasters. I cherish the fact that we work together. You're a great mind. You're learning daily, which is dangerous because if I knew as much as you did at your age, you'd be wild. All right. I fucking hate John Moxley, bro. I'm so burnt out on everything this man does. He comes to the ring looking like he's a fucking pajamas, bro. Like, you're one of the biggest stars on the planet. At least make your gear. If you're going to play the grunge metal, like, I don't give a shit about my gear, at least make it look good. It looks like he went out to the merch table and was like, fuck, I lost my luggage. I better buy some fucking AEW shop BCC merch. Like, come on, dude. You're in the top 5 of the best wrestlers on the planet in PWI. Like, buy some gear. Even Mankind got over in sweatpants and flannels.
What would his gear really be though? Because I can't really see Moxley rocking tights.
Go back. He's not going to be in tights. Go back to the jeans with the fucking biker cut. Go back to something. Don't come out in your PJs looking like you just rolled out of an AA meeting. Like, come on, broski. You're the 5th best wrestler on the planet. Like, look professional.
I mean, I understand where you're coming from. I completely understand it. I mean, like I said, I like Moxley just because, like I said, you know, he always goes out there and puts on great matches. Like I said, what can I tell you? He definitely reinvented himself from when he was in WWE as Dean Ambrose. So it's just always great to see him have a different side of him.
I don't take away from his in-ring work. I completely agree with you. Like, in-ring work, he's one of the best current hardcore wrestlers currently out there doing it. His in-ring psychology allows it to get over the way he does it. I'm not talking about his in-ring work. This whole persona of it's cool to not be cool shit died out in 2003 when I fucking graduated high school. Like, you're a grown man who does something professionally. Like, look professional while you do it.
Completely understand it.
I agree with that because he has in AEW in the past he has had attire, not even just the tights. He had other pants that it was like a brown and black scheme, almost like it almost looked like the bottom part of the tights that like the Bludgeon Brothers wore, but black and brown. That's what he wore. I mean, Mox getting his 40th win on Dynamite.
That's cool. Would it take him 4 fucking years to do it?
Yeah. 10 wins on Dynamite a year, 44 losses. I mean, but I don't know. I mean, going into this match against Ray Phoenix, I had a feeling that that Mox was going to win this match. There was no way he was losing this match to Ray. They would have had to have something happen for Ray to win this match.
Can we talk about how it's a little bit distasteful that they wrote him off TV by kayfabing an injury right now? I left this up because Scal's absolutely right. They put in those new guidelines and meetings that they weren't supposed to fake injuries this way, to the point that I stopped what I was doing and went back down and rewound it so I could watch the spot again to make sure I didn't miss something that was going to be catastrophic. And I was like, like, the whole point of these new rules and guidelines was so that people wouldn't be convinced that the wrestlers were killing themselves. Head and neck injuries were not supposed to be used. Thank you, Scouts, for coming through. He's absolutely right. Like, the whole point of these new rules and regulations was to stop this from happening. And they wrote him off of TV for a visa issue by pretending like he got a brain injury. Like, this seems crazy to me. Yeah, boom.
I mean,
I get it.
And the thing too is Ray Phoenix is now, again, the injury thing. They're taking Ray Phoenix out, which means is he out of this match on Sunday?
He can't go to England anyways. His visa hasn't been cleared.
Oh, that I didn't know.
Yep.
That I didn't know. New news to me. Okay. Because I was going to say
why they're writing him off. So
That's what I mean. That's why I said it's distasteful to write him off in this manner, because they could just go, hey, there's some visa issues, like our boy can't travel. Instead, they're going to kayfabe an injury by actually risking injury to the man. Like, it's just not the move.
Because my whole thought when this thing happened was they just took out one of the most possibly exciting wrestlers that are going to be in this match. I mean, it's a stadium stampede. I mean, what Ray Phoenix would be able to do in that match, he'd be able to do some crazy stuff. This is all new news to me, and I agree that they could have just went and said, hey, he's not allowed to travel because of these issues, and that's that. Because now, how long are they going to keep him out for? What, is he going to come back before All Out?
Probably.
What's concussion protocol? Like in the NFL, it's a minimum of 7 days.
You're giving them too much credit, because I don't think they're going to do all that.
I
don't think they're going to go that far.
I'm just kidding. You and I both know if he has a real injury, he would work on Sunday if he could get the fucking visa. I just don't think it's a good idea to kayfabe an injury in this scenario.
NFL, I think, is a 10-day process.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a 10-day process.
Mike, Ginger wants to know if you'd wrestle a fat naked guy.
How much am I making?
$20.
$20. Where at? What type of match?
I don't know if it would be a match. I think what Ginger's trying to say is he just wants to get frisky with you.
Oh,
I'd wrestle you, Jaxpo, but you know that.
I cost more than $20.
$20 is $20. I was looking for the comment that said it. Tommy said it earlier. Cam, I'm sorry, it is your show.
No, you're good. You're good. You are good.
But I mean, I cost. What do you think? I'm cheap? Like, come on.
Can I just add, like, what material are these luchadors masks made of? Because why do they keep getting their masks ripped so easily? Like, can they just get like better material for their masks so they don't get ripped so easily? Because that just happens all the time.
They do be getting fucked up a bunch.
I think it's almost like the tights. Like the tights are tights, but then they add on stuff to the mask for the designs, like the plastic pieces and stuff to stitch on, like patches and stuff. And then obviously the Velcro. I think that's why they rip so easily.
I'm asking somebody who makes gear for a living for the WWE. What material are lucha masks made of?
Because it must not be good. It must not be that good quality. It just must not be.
I really wish.
Thank you, Shadow.
I really wish I would have known this question this past weekend, because I was at a wrestling shop called the Wrestling Collector in Jersey, and they had official masks that like are used in ring. I could have just checked the material. I didn't touch them though. I just looked at them, seen the price, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm not touching these things. That's all I need to do is ruin it. Then I'm broke."
I could see what mine's made of. I'd have to stand up.
Fit check.
Yeah. Mike, we could have asked Ray and Pinta ourselves. Ooh.
This is true. We could have.
There you go.
And Jaxo says, what about $20 and 2 hot dogs?
That's indie show stuff right there.
All right. Throw a Sprite in the deal and some mustard, and we're good.
What up, Sean? There you go.
What's up, Sean? You got that? Hot dog, a Sprite, some mustard, and what else did I say?
Tommy said he'll do it. Tommy says he'll play with your hot dog for a hot dog. Ginger. What's up, Sean? I think I already said hi to you. Cam, it's your show. I'm sorry.
We've gone off the rails, ladies and gentlemen.
It happened.
Oh, Lord have mercy. I don't even know where it was. Okay. So, yeah, just running through some of the spots I like here, obviously. Obviously, Phoenix hit a tope suicide on the outside, and then Moxley took back control and hit a nasty-looking curb stomp on the entrance ramp. That's when, of course, after that, the mask got ripped by Moxley. That's why I was asking, like, what kind of material is it made of? Because they always get their mask ripped for some reason. They went to commercial break. They came back. Phoenix took a very disgusting looking pile driver. It was very, very, very crazy looking. Phoenix at one point hit a crazy frog splash for a near fall. Mox hit a very, and I didn't really like this spot that much because, again, like I said, it was the same as the pile driver. But Moxley took Ray Phoenix to the top rope and hit a avalanche death rider, which looked pretty freaking dangerous. Eventually, Mox ends up putting away Ray Phoenix with a sleeper hold. After all of that, it was the BCC Classic beatdown after the match of Ray Phoenix, which we then saw Penta and Kingston come for the save. They were cut off by Ortiz. And then music hit. There was a huge crowd pop, and Santana returns, only to my surprise of him teaming up with Ortiz to then turn on Kingston and Penta, which I didn't see coming. But
I called that shit.
Did you, Will? Well,
yeah.
What did you think about that then?
Last night I was on a all-in prediction show, and they were like, "Who do you think's going to be on the BCC side?" And I said a returning Proud and Powerful, because 3 weeks ago on Botch Spots, no free shoutouts, we reported that Proud and Powerful had been moved from the alumni section back to the active roster as Proud and Powerful. Because when they broke up, they were listed as individual stars. Then they were taken off the active roster, and now they were moved back onto the active roster as a tag team. So last night, I gave the prediction that I said Proud and Powerful are coming back. I didn't think they would come back until London, but I was like, okay.
See, once again, you're probably going to get tired of me saying this, but that's why you're here, because you pay attention to those minor details that I just completely miss altogether.
That's why I get paid the medium bucks, Cam.
Exactly. But Mike, what did you think about Santana returning and teaming back up with Ortiz?
I was excited about this because they are one of my favorite teams in AEW since the beginning. And I really hope Ortiz is growing his hair back, because him bald, I didn't like it.
No.
Didn't like it at all.
No.
So it kind of looks like he is growing his hair back. He got that cool little like early 40s, 50s look going on with the dress shirt and the khakis and the hat, everything like that. But it gives us something interesting because of them being friends with Eddie Kingston. So it's a nice little twist. I like it. So I'm excited to see them back.
And then the last thing we saw about this was the Best Friends came out for the save. They cleared the ring. And, of course, Ray Phoenix was carted out on a stretcher. Gentlemen, I think now is a good time for the cool down and vibe session of the show.
I've been waiting for this moment. I've been waiting for this.
Oh, okay.
This is new to me.
We just kind of hang out for a minute and decompress from AEW, and like talk about shit that's either not wrestling or other wrestling from AEW, and then we'll go back and finish the back half of the show.
Okay.
Like the back half of Dynamite. We take a breather like halfway through the show. GCW this past weekend fucking rocked, dude. The homecoming show was so good. So good. Like Matt Cardona, his match, like I'm not a Maki Ito person. I wasn't when she was in AEW. I didn't really think I'm not a big Joshi wrestling fan. It's nothing against the Japanese style. It's just not for me. Don't yuck any yums, right? That's what we say. But for some reason, her in a death match fucking rocks, bro. Like that style working in a death match where it doesn't matter that she's a foot smaller and 100 pounds lighter than everybody else in the ring because she's beating you to death with a barbed wire baseball bat. You know what I mean? It's like a real life fucking Bride of Chucky, bro.
Love it.
That wasn't much of a vibe, but I was so excited to talk about it.
No, hey, anything you can add to the cool down and vibe session, I'm here for it. Oh man, I'm not gonna be able to find it now. But of course we know that RVD had his match with Jack Perry like 2-3 weeks ago now.
It was 3 weeks, I think. 2 weeks.
And of course, the IWCs, they're talking shit about him. Oh, he's old, he's slow, he's this and that, blah 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 blah. Right? So he posted on RVD on his Instagram, posted a picture of like how his physique or whatever. Right? Oh, here it is. I found it. So he was like, he said something like, yeah, like talk that shit now because I'm in shape or whatever. Right? So I commented on that same post, and I said, this is exactly what I said. I said, you tell him, Rob, this man is 52 and in tremendous shape, still one of a kind. Now, that's crazy because that man actually liked my comment. So I was freaking out that RVD actually liked my comment. So that was pretty sick.
That's dope.
You're definitely not the only one that got a post liked by Rob Van Dam. I also got a post liked by Rob Van Dam. I had the pleasure to, thanks to Sean. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate you. I got to meet RVD over the weekend for the very first time. And I was talking to him for a little bit, and I said to him, Rob, you look great. Keep working. Keep up the great work. Keep working hard. Like, don't listen to the haters. Keep doing you because you look great. You're moving great. Like it was an awesome experience to meet him, and such a down to earth person. And then I got to talk to him a little bit. Like, man, he asked me where I was from. I told him Allentown, Pennsylvania, and he was like, "Oh, I have some great memories in Allentown." He told me a little story about him, things that he did in Allentown and stuff like that. And it was really cool, really, really cool. So yeah, that was awesome. It was an awesome experience this weekend. Sure going to be talking about it more later on this week. But yeah, it was really cool. And the Impact New Japan joint show, Multiverse United 2, went over to that in Philadelphia, and that was an awesome show for what it was.
Absolutely. Like, you guys had a blast. I'm glad you guys had fun.
Oh, it was a lot of very overwhelming getting to meet.
I can imagine.
Yeah. Meet everybody that I got to meet. Like, it was very overwhelming, but at the end of the day, amazing experience.
Absolutely. But of course, I want to take this time to thank everybody for joining the pod tonight. Of course, follow us everywhere we do our content at Off the Top Media and on River City Radio. Definitely go check out this guy on Ted the Table Spot. And Will, he's everywhere. He is the voice of River City Radio. So definitely go check him out. If you are new or if you're a returning viewer and listener, thank you guys so much. Has anybody checked out Twisted Metal, the TV show? Because I just started watching. I watched. Well, I'm in the midst of watching episode 1 right now. So far, it's a good show. So
I binge watched the whole first season in one day. I'm a huge fan of Anthony Mackie. I watch almost everything that Anthony Mackie is in. So he's an awesome actor. I mean, you're gonna love this season. I'm not gonna spoil anything for you. I'm not one of those people that like to spoil things for people.
Thank you.
But you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it, and yeah, that's all I'm gonna say because it's a great show. I highly recommend it to anybody who's thinking about watching it.
Yes, like I said, so far, I mean, it seems like a really good show. And like I said, it's tough to like, because like a lot of the TV shows that I watch, I mean, like, of course, outside of like wrestling, have all been like canceled. So it's like I really don't watch a lot of television outside of that. Like I mainly watch like YouTube, gameplay videos and stuff like that. So I don't really watch like a lot of television and stuff like that a lot of times. So yeah, so it's definitely refreshing to have another show to watch.
What's cool about the show is some episodes are 45 minutes, some are 40 minutes, some are even 30 minutes, right, because of how they're building the story. So right, like those 30-minute episodes that you're gonna see what I mean by, okay, this is just like a story filler. But it's a very easy show to get through. That's why I was able to get through it in one day. Not only that, I'm a homebody, so it's like,
right,
not doing anything else. But it makes it a lot easier when it's not a consistent 60-minute show, where some episodes are 30 minutes, 35 minutes, 40 minutes.
Absolutely. Man, I got to talk about, of course, I got to talk about some video games. I think we're within the next couple of months up till early 2024, we're going to be very, very spoiled. There's a lot of good games coming out. Obviously, I'm hyped for Mortal Kombat. I got that pre-ordered already. Starfield comes out. I've already got that pre-ordered as well. That's on Game Pass right now on Xbox. So yeah, man, there's a lot of good video games coming out as well. So I'm gonna be busy, especially just outside of wrestling as well. So
I just downloaded the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. I've yet to play it because I started downloading it. So it's officially on my Xbox, ready to go, ready for me to go in and start playing. I've heard many different things about it. But when it comes to video games, I like to experience it myself. Right. I don't really go off of what people say because, and this goes with movies, TV shows, video games, movies are the same for me in three things. I want to experience it myself and have my own thought on it. Like, if I'll take other people's opinions, but I'm still going to want to experience it, because even though you may not like it or you may like it, I may or may not like it.
Right.
It's all about what you feel as a person going into that movie, video game, or TV show.
From what I've seen from it, from what little I've seen from it, it reminds me of oh man, I'm never gonna think of it now. I can't think of it. I can't think of that other horror game I'm thinking of, but it's like an online only horror game. Oh, Friday the 13th.
That game died out very quick.
Yeah.
They did a lot of bad things. The thing is with the Friday the 13th game is they kept it in a one setting type of deal where, and I was talking to somebody about this the other day, with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, they can have different maps, because if you've watched the movies, they've had, the setting where the house is on the property. You've had the radio stations, the TV stations, even with the new movie on Netflix, if they were to get the rights to use characters from that movie, they can use that town that's in the new movie. So they can do different maps and change it up. They just have to have the rights for it first. So I'm hoping I'm hoping that they build this game more than they did Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th did die off very, very quick.
Right. But gentlemen, that concludes our cool down and vibe session. We will be getting back into Dynamite, the go home show to All In. So after the break, Renee tries to get a word from Eddie Kingston as Ray Phoenix is being loaded into the back of an ambulance, and he is furious at Renee, saying that this is what your husband caused, but I will fix it at Wembley. Now, we go from that to then we go to get a word from Sammy Guevara, like literally like 30 seconds later. So my question to y'all is, what is Renee like? She have teleportation powers? How the hell did she get from the parking garage all the way to backstage? Like, wow.
So the Sammy Guevara interview, I think, was taped earlier in the day.
Okay. All right.
I believe they mentioned that before they showed that interview. Because I thought the same thing at first. I literally rewound my TV. I was like, hold on, she was just backstage with Kinks. I rewound, and then they said, oh, this was recorded earlier in the day. And I was like, okay. I was gonna say she was pretty freaking quick. Or they have their sets literally set up in the back to where she can just jump.
In Cam's defense, though, production flaws like that with AEW isn't something they would just do. They would put that vignette back to back and then not expect us to question, how the fuck did Renee go 3 football fields and 2 tunnels?
Right. I thought it was just inhuman speed from Renee. I'm like, I didn't know Renee was a track star, but okay.
She's an alumnus from Charles Xavier Schools for the Gifted.
Sure. Oh man, but we get a word from Sammy Guevara. But before we can get a word from Sammy Guevara, he's cut off by Daddy Magic. He's like, what you doing? What you doing? So now I don't know about you guys, but it sounds like to me that Daddy Magic and company are trying to tell Sammy Guevara not to trust Chris Jericho, simply because of, just because of Sammy is Jericho's friend and he wants to be in his corner. They were basically telling him, don't let the friendship blind you, because at the end of the day, will Jericho be there for you when the chips are down? I'm going to go with Will. Will, what do you make of all this? I know he tried to join Don Callis' family last week. He was beat up and bloodied that week. So what do you make of all of this? What is this all leading to? Please make some sense of this.
Cam, I really hate to say this, Bubba. And again, I love you, but there's no way to make sense of anything Chris Jericho's doing in wrestling in 2023. I appreciate who he is. He's the Ayatollah of rock and roll. He's Y2J. He's got the stupid fucking list. Like, the man's the greatest intercontinental champion to ever do it. Don't at me. Like, we'll have that talk one day. But the fact of the matter is like, until Chris Jericho's ready to stop putting himself into these nonsensical stories in the public eye, to where he gets to sing himself to the ring in front of a 80,000 person crowd. So that way for the rest of his music career, he gets to say he played to a sold out Wembley. Until he's done stroking his own ego, we'll never be done with Chris Jericho. There's no end to it. Chris Jericho is going to continue to Chris Jericho as long as Chris Jericho can Chris Jericho.
That's fair. That's very fair. Mike.
Well, do you want the long-term thought or do you want the short-term thought?
I mean,
all right.
Whichever's best.
All right, bruv. I'll tell you. I think when this all comes to an end, involving Sammy Guevara, we're going to get Sammy Guevara eventually turning on Chris Jericho.
Do you think that's the final Jericho feud, is him finally building up to take, because he's had those little feuds and little mini matches with every other member of the Inner Circle and, the rest of his stupid little things, the Jerkoffs or whatever they were called.
So my thought on it, because I even said it back during the Four Pillars match, my prediction was Sammy Guevara winning the world title, and then we get Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho going at it for the AEW world title. And even if Sammy didn't win the title, when it all comes down to it, we're going to get Sammy versus Chris somewhere down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's going to be the thing. Yeah.
And I don't know if I want to say it's going to be Sammy turning on Chris in London, but we could possibly see this turn into a tag match for All Out the following week, and then that's when Sammy does it. Turn on him during the tag match.
At All Out or All In?
At All Out. So he doesn't turn on him at All In, but it turns into a tag match between Jericho, Guevara, teaming up against Ospreay and somebody else, and Sammy turns on Jericho at All Out.
I say he does it at All Out. I say he turns on him on All Out. I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, that's their biggest
turn on him at All Out.
Oh,
or do you mean All In?
I mean, no. I mean All In. Okay. All In, All Out. You know what I meant.
We all get confused. It had. I honestly thought Sunday was All Out as well earlier.
Yeah, no. I meant All In. All In. I think he'll do it at All In, just because it just seems like all of this is just building up to that one point. So, because I thought about that when they were interviewing him backstage. I was just like, I think all of this is legitimately just going to, end with Guevara, walking out on Jericho. So I think that's going to happen at All In.
It could make sense because, like Will pointed out, like Jericho's going to be singing himself to the ring. The focus, he's trying to make the focus all on him, even though, he's playing as the babyface right now. So I could possibly see it happening at All In as well. But I don't know. I feel like more closer to an All Out during a tag match.
Absolutely. moving on here. I have a lot written down for this next segment. But we have the contract signing between Jericho and Will Ospreay, a match I don't know who in the world asked for. But anyways, Jericho and Will Ospreay, of course, make their entrances. Of course, Jericho comes out last because he likes to hear people sing his theme song. Anywho, okay, so we get Don Callis, an explanation as to why he did what he did to Jericho last week. And he calls Will Ospreay Will by God Ospreay, and he did it for the money and power, and he threw away, what did he say, 30, 40 plus whatever years of friendship with Jericho down the drain for money and power. Ospreay, however, like I said, I already know Ospreay is pretty good. Obviously, he's amazing in the ring, and he's amazing on the mic. But this probably was easily one of his, who knows, top 3, top 5 probably promos or whatever. And he said he needs to win this match to put his stepson through school with the money. He wants to be able to say that he beat Omega, Okada, and now Jericho within the last 2 months. He also went on to say that he's better than the Elite and CM Phillip on Collision. Jericho, on the other hand, at first he didn't really say too much, but he went on to say that he thinks that this match is bigger than any Tokyo Dome or Mania match, which I don't know about all that, but he said all that. He said that he is on top of the effing mountain and everyone is trying to knock him off of it. People on social media, the dipshits on social media, trying to predict his demise. Of course, this breaks out in a brawl after Jericho makes it personal with Will Ospreay. Mike, what did you think of this contract signing?
I mean, first off, I have to say Chris Jericho smacked the shit out of Will Ospreay. Like, they didn't even have to have microphones in the ring to hear that smack. But, I mean, Ospreay made a lot of claims, saying that he's better than certain wrestlers. I mean, he could probably be better than one of them. And right now, be better than one of them, and that'd probably be CM Punk. But I don't know about Bryan Danielson.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know about that. I don't know. But I mean, he said he was better than the Elite, better than Danielson, better than Punk, and he's better than Jericho. And then saying that he's in 2 months he'd be beating Omega. Who was it? Omega, Jericho, and Okada in 2 months. I mean, that's impressive. Super impressive. But it was just a normal contract sign. I mean, what we always see from contract signs, it just breaks down into a brawl. We never see an actual contract signing and then they just walk away.
Right.
So, I mean, I am excited for this match. I'm excited to see it because, first we got Kenny and Ospreay back at Forbidden Door. Now we're getting Jericho and Ospreay. It's a big match. I'm excited for it, but do I feel like it's going to deliver to the hype? I don't know. It's yet to see. I can't sit here and say whether it's going to deliver or not.
They definitely hyped it up, though. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, they did.
So I don't know. Will, what did you think?
I think 2023 is the strangest year of wrestling I've ever seen in my life. Okay. I didn't see Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega having the 2 best matches of the year before August 1st. You know what I mean? I didn't see that happening. I didn't see me coming around and deciding that the Young Bucks are quality tag teams. And I definitely didn't see Chris Jericho and Will Ospreay being on the card against each other at Wembley. This, as Mike said, I'll echo into the void, your typical sports entertainment contract signing. It melted down. People said mean things. Feelings got hurt. Slaps were slapped. People were mad. But when it boils down to it, Will Ospreay deserves better in his hometown than Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho is, as I previously stated, the Ayatollah. He's maybe the biggest name on the card, but he's not the biggest match for Will Ospreay in his hometown. And I feel like this is almost shortchanging Will Ospreay for Chris Jericho.
Do you think this is a warm-up match before we get him and Omega again?
Yes, but I don't know for sure that that'll happen in an AEW rink.
I don't think it will. No.
I mean, I even said it after Forbidden Door when they announced All In Wembley. I said it right away. We need to see Ospreay and Omega again.
Mm-hmm.
We do. And now that Ospreay switched the United States title over to the United Kingdom title,
it's fitting.
Why not? It's fitting. I'll agree with that 100% because of him being from the UK. But I mean, I think Omega and Ospreay would have been a lot bigger deal for Wembley. We could have gotten Jericho and we could have gotten Jericho and Ospreay at All Out. We could have.
Or on just a regular episode of Dynamite.
Yeah. Yeah, I highly agree with that. But what I was going with this was if they're trying to build Will Ospreay up, then they could have had him face Kenny in Wembley, beat Kenny, and then go to All Out, face Jericho, beat Jericho. That would have been a huge build-up for Will Ospreay, especially if that's what their focus is to build him up.
Right.
Beating those 3 guys in 2 months, hell, you're beating 2 of those guys in the matter of a week. That'd be huge build-up for him.
Agreed. Now we're getting into the point where Mike was talking about earlier. Renee interviews Cole, and of course, eventually at some point, Cole storms out of the interview and is mad that people cannot accept the fact that there are no issues with him and MJF. Of course, Mike, I'm going to start with you. How do you feel about this? Again, like I said, it's highly debated who's going to turn on who. Of course, me and Will pretty much agree that it's probably going to be a double turn, and that probably is the better move to go with. But what do you make of all this?
And this is why I said that I think Adam Cole is the heel in this situation. He's going to turn on MJF, especially after how he reacted at the end of this interview. You watch MJF's interview, he sat, he talked. He got asked almost close to the same questions, did not overreact. He had answers. I mean, I even heard an interview he did earlier this week. He got emotional, just like he almost did tonight. Where Adam Cole, he let all the questions get to his head. He wouldn't even look at the screen. I mean, he was literally putting it on the screen. Heel. And could he be swerving me? He could be. But that whole interview just showed that he's the heel in this situation, that he's going to turn on MJF.
Fair. I mean, that's a fair point. When you put it that way, it kind of makes me look at it a little bit different. But again, just knowing MJF, it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't trust him. I don't trust anything he says, man. When he tries to play nice, you know how MJF likes to be. So,
but he put out a lot of good points during his sit down with Renee. He's saying that, I'm not trying to work you guys. Adam Cole is, legit my first legit friend. Like, he's not only a friend to me, best friend to me, he's my brother. Like, if he's playing us, he's doing a damn good job at it. To where Adam Cole is showing the emotions. Like, he's getting pissed off at these questions, getting pissed off at the the accusations, that there's stuff going on between him and MJF. So right now, Adam Cole's showing me that he's the one that's going to turn. But like you said, you got to watch out for MJF because he could swerve. He could be swerving us. Yeah, he played the nice guy at one point and, turned into the asshole at the end. But this time around, I don't know. Something feels different about this.
Could be, man. It's definitely an interesting element, that's for sure. moving on, we have the Mogul. Wait, hold on. Okay, yeah. Mogul Embassy versus Nick Wayne and Darby Allin. Okay, so I'm gonna just run through a couple of spots that I liked or whatever, and then I'll get you guys' opinion on this match. Okay, so early on, AR Fox had cut off Nick Wayne on top rope for a nasty split leg German. I didn't see that coming at all. That was very interesting. Awesome stuff back and forth from both teams. The one thing that I like that's paying attention to detail of the story, obviously, is AR Fox still rocking the bloodied tank top of Nick Wayne from the attack a few weeks ago, I believe, on Dynamite 200. So that was insane. Nick Wayne's mom was at ringside. At first, I didn't know that was Nick Wayne's mom. She looks very, very young. So I didn't know that was Nick Wayne's mom at first, but Nick Wayne's mom was at the ringside. Nick Wayne hit a Wait, wow, where am I at? Oh, okay. Nick Wayne gets cut off again into some sort of power bomb neck breaker from the top rope. That was a sick combination from AR Fox and Swerve. Swerve hit a coup de grace on Darby Allin in a chair, sitting upright at one point. At that point, after that happened, Nick Wayne was getting the worst ass kicking I had ever seen of my life, but he kept kicking out. It was near fall after near fall after near fall, and eventually AR Fox just got a little too carried away, misses a 450, and then, of course, then gets rolled up into a bridge by Nick Wayne. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go with Will. What did you think of this match?
I sent a message during this match that said Nick Wayne and Darby Allin together is like a yin yang, because you have sad Darby Allin and not sad Darby Allin. Because that's what Nick Wayne is just Darby Allin in his same moveset and pretty much the same way he wrestles. He's not quite the brawler, and Darby's not quite the high flyer, but they're still just pretty much the same moveset. They're real similar to Swerve. You can tell they all come from the same family tree. But watching this match is like they're going to the well. I said the same thing about the bloodline. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like the whole point of them finishing Nick Wayne off 3 weeks ago, and then everything that's happened, and now they've done this, and now they've done that. And now 3 days before the biggest match in history, like Swerve and AR Fox have heat, and he's like, nah, I'm good. Like, so now he just doesn't have a tag team partner for the match. Like, where's where's this booking going and why? There's just a lot of questions that, like, I don't like to ask why when I watch wrestling. And I feel like this is one of those situations where I felt like I got at the end of the segment, I was like, why? Why did that happen through like 4 days, 5 days before the biggest wrestling like match in their career in front of the biggest crowd in wrestling history? Like, why did they have those two break up now?
Yeah, and I really didn't. I was going to get to that too, but I really didn't like AR Fox and Swerve breaking up, obviously. Like I said, again, especially before the biggest pay-per-view they've had in the company's history. First of all, I liked AR Fox and Swerve as a heel tag team, because what AEW's tag team division, in my eyes, lack is, believable bad guy tag teams. They don't have a lot of them. They just don't. So I did not like the fact that they broke up already, when I think they could have done something special within that tag team division. But Mike, what did you think of this?
Well, for one, to Nick Wayne's mom's defense, Nick Wayne is 18 years old. True. Well, I have a 17-year-old daughter, so I mean, I'm 37, so she could be 38, 39 years old, to her defense. But yeah, I mean, to turn this early, again, just like Will said, to turn this early on AR Fox, I mean, I could see the point of it, but at the same time, I can't see the point of it. The point of it is, we're getting another pay-per-view a week after this one. And obviously Darby Allin's going for the TNT Championship. So they almost played off that whole cliche-ish, like, okay, we're building, we got to kind of do storylines. They got to kind of build. Let me start over here. They have a week to build storylines between pay-per-views. So it's almost like they're rolling from one pay-per-view to the other with this storyline. And they involve Christian. If that makes sense.
Right.
So I could see the turn making that point, but at the same time, to do the turn this early, I mean, they could have done something completely different and still had AR Fox, be involved with Swerve. Like, Swerve could have said, you know what, AR, like, you haven't proven me yet that you could be involved in this match. You got a lot more proving to do. You're out of the match, but he could still be in the group. And then have Christian come out as the replacement instead of having the turn right away. And then somewhere down the road have AR Fox, mess up, keep messing up, and then have the turn. But they went with the turn right away, and now they have Christian in the match. They're gonna build off that going into All Out for the TNT title. Yeah,
absolutely. We have next with the interview of FTR and the Young Bucks backstage with Renee. They said a bunch back and forth, but the word I heard getting tossed around a lot was their legacy.
Yeah.
So does it hurt FTR's legacy if they do not beat the Young Bucks? Does it hurt the Young Bucks' legacy if they do not beat FTR? Who needs this win more? I'm going to go with Will first.
Neither of them need it. One loss at this point in both their careers with the tag titles on the line isn't going to make or break either team. I think the best way to look at it is Tom Brady. Tom Brady has 1 million Super Bowl rings, right? He has played in the statistic is something like 1 in every 10, like 10% of the Super Bowls are his, 1 in every 10 or something crazy. Like whatever the weird, he's unbeatable, right?
Right.
Now the question is, do you think less of his career because they lost to a wild card New York Giants and didn't go 18-0?
No.
Okay. Do you think any less of them when they lost to Eli Manning on a fluke catch? No.
No.
Do you think any less of them because they lost to Philadelphia?
Not at all.
We'll let that. But the point is like the Young Bucks have all that gold. One loss isn't going to take away everything they've accomplished. And the exact same thing can be said for FTR. But the long and the short of it is like, this is one of those situations where there's nothing bad that can come from this because as wrestling fans, we're either going to get FTR continue to have one of the best career runs of any tag team, or we get them upset by the Young Bucks and we get to see the babyface Bucks hold the titles, which is something we've never had in AEW. So it's a win-win no matter what. So I'm here for it.
Absolutely. Who needs to win more, FTR or the Young Bucks? Mike.
First off, all I got to say is Philly. I had to do it. Honestly, FTR.
Okay.
I think FTR needs to win more than the Bucks. I agree with Will's point that neither team really needs the win. But I feel like when it comes down to it, FTR. I mean, you look at the Young Bucks. They just signed new contracts with AEW. They're going to be there for a while. They're the EVPs. They help run the place. So anytime you think AEW, you think Young Bucks. Anytime you think AEW, you think Kenny Omega, Tony Khan, any of the people running the place. FTR needs this win to cement that legacy, to show that they are, in fact, one of the best tag teams in the world. There is other reasons why I feel like they need this win, but I really don't. I don't want to get into that. I don't want to personally get into. Well, I can't say personally because I don't know them personally, but I don't want to get into that. But there's reasons why I feel like they need to win this match, and for them to go into Wembley and beat the Young Bucks on the biggest show of AEW, it would just be huge. Like I said, you think AEW, you think Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, all those. If the Young Bucks went in and won this match, there's your attachment right there. AEW in Wembley.
Next, we have.
Does that kind of make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay, I just want to make sure I was kind of clear on that.
Yeah. Okay. But next we had what I thought was the main event, which was Sky Blue versus Ruby Soho. Obviously, there's nothing really special here. They continue to treat Sky Blue like a punching bag jobber for the Outcast, I believe that's their names. But what I found interesting about this was the fact that they had these little promo video packages or whatever, and they had Ruby Soho say that she is taking aim at the TBS champion Chris Statlander. Now, if you ask me, in the midst of this AEW women's locker room drama, it seems very suspicious to me. So what my question is to you gentlemen is, do you think that Tony Khan is playing favorites in the women's division? Will, I see your face lit up. Do you think Tony Khan is playing favorites?
Yes. I absolutely do. Not only do I think Tony Khan is playing favorites, I think Tony Khan has a little DMD on his shoulder. And have you ever seen what's that movie back in the day? Get in, losers. We're going shopping. Mean Girls. Britt Baker and all of her little, that little cast of her miscreants. We all saw them on the canceled AEW reality show that stuck around for like a cup of coffee. All access. Like we saw there.
That canceled. I didn't watch it.
Well, it hasn't been officially canceled, but the point of the matter is that like we saw what happened to Lufisto when she came out. Like everybody pretty much publicly shat on somebody who said anything bad about it. So in my opinion, like, what did Cat Williams say? You don't get accused of the same thing 1,000 times from 1,000 people and it not be true.
There you go. Mike, what do you think? What do you think about this? Do you think Tony Khan is playing favorites in the women's division?
Yes and no. I want to wait until Sunday to make my full decision on this. Let's just put it this way. If Britt Baker walks out with the AEW Women's Championship, I'm going to say yes. I am. Because just like Will said, you watch that reality show, Britt Baker has that Mean Girls mentality. And she was focused just because, and I'll say this till my face is blue. When somebody gets injured, like Thunder Rosa did, Thunder Rosa had a serious back injury. I know all about it. You can do many things with that injury. You can travel. You can walk your dog. You can go outside to the park and play Pokemon Go. You can do all that stuff. You'll still be able to move, but you're still injured. At the same time, she's been kept away from that championship for a while. That's why I say I want to wait until after Sunday to fully say whether he is playing favorites or not. Because his champions right now are who? His champions are Hikaru Shida
and Statlander.
And Chris Statlander. So, and your big storyline right now is the Outcast and the Originals, correct?
Yeah,
correct.
If Britt Baker ends up winning the AEW Women's title and Ruby Soho wins the TBS Championship, I'd be 100% on board with saying that he is favoring women in the women's division.
Fair enough.
because that's his main focus storyline right now in the women's division. What other women are having big storylines? Even when Jade Cargill had the TBS championship, she didn't have big storylines.
Not at all.
She just faced women. That was it. And that's why I said when she lost the TBS title, I want Jade Cargill to come back and just go on this mean streak and become the women's champion. Not the TBS champion, women's champion. I'm a fan of Jade Cargill. I am. She grew on me. I became a fan of her.
There was one point where that TBS title, in a lot of regards, was higher held than the women's title because the women's booking for that women's title seemed so lackluster. But then you had the commanding champion that was Jade Cargill. Tony Khan did Tony Khan things, and I'm not taking anything away from Stat. I love her.
Yeah.
But you can't tell me this reign has been better than Jade's when Jade was out there defending her television title on TV every week.
Yes. And I honestly think, I understand Jade Cargill may have wanted some time off. I get that. They could have kept that title on her, and they could have simply built a storyline by doing video packages. And then have Jade come in, defend the title, win, lose, whatever. If she would have won and she needed more time, continue doing the video package thing. Have her come in and cut a promo in the ring and then go. She doesn't even have to compete if she needed time off to heal up or whatever. They could have kept that title on her and had her run with it even more.
Agreed.
True. Okay, we can breeze past this next part. Strong was still in a neck brace. Obviously, he says by the end of the night at All In, we will find out the real MJF and Adam Cole. Next, now I want to say this about the whole like House of Black and the Acclaim story. I'm loving that, honestly, because I knew when Billy Gunn had supposedly retired, I just knew something was up because I was like, that's so abrupt and just so weird for him to just all of a sudden just put his shoes in the middle of the ring and then just walk out.
Boots.
But see, then I started believing it because then the Acclaimed were like, oh yeah, Billy Gunn's retired and yada. And I was like, oh man, so maybe he really is retired. But then I knew it was a story when the Acclaimed were making this whole thing about the boots and they threw it in like this like trash compactor and destroyed them. Then I was like, okay, so there's a bigger story being told here. So of course that whole video package was being shown. And then Anthony Bowens comes out. First of all, the Acclaim came out to no music, no rapping. That was completely different for them. But Anthony Bowens then calls out the House of Black. The House of Black come out. A fight ensues. Billy Gunn returns to a huge pop. He then gets on the mic and throws down the challenge for All In. He calls the Acclaimed his kids. And then he says that they hurt one of his kids in the Acclaimed. And that they tried to destroy his legacy that he took 30 plus years to build by destroying his boots. Throws on the challenge for All In for the Trios Championships. And then says that Daddy Ass will not be making the trip, but they will be getting Badass Billy Gunn. Gentlemen, what did we think of this? I'm going with Mike.
Excuse me. First off, does Malachi Black not look weird, baby-faced?
He
clean
does.
shaved?
He does.
I had to take a double take for a second.
Yeah.
And look at him. I was like, oh my God. Like that is actually him. That threw me off because I never seen him clean shaved.
Yeah, he looks like a teenager. It looks weird.
I know. The one thing I hope Tony Khan did for Wembley is buy the rights to Billy Gunn's WWE music. Ask me. I really hope so. I want to see him come out to that music.
That's a tall task right there, but that would be interesting.
I know it is. I know. I agree with you, but it would be so awesome to just hear, I'm an ass man.
Yeah, it would, though. It would.
Like, you're telling me 82,000 people in Wembley Stadium would not freaking erupt.
They would freak out.
Yeah. I mean, you'd probably hear the whole world of wrestling fans literally echo across the world if that music were to hit. Like,
pro wrestling Twitter will be like, it'll explode. They'll just be like, what the fuck is happening right now?
The one thing I'd like to know about this, though, is that challenge for the Trios Championships?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Because that's the one thing I didn't hear. All I heard was the challenge for a match, but did not hear him challenge for the belts.
True. But I think they after that segment, they did show like the graphics for everything on All In. And I think they did say Trios Championship. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Then I hope that we get new Trios champions on Sunday.
Same.
Absolutely.
Because the Acclaimed, I'll say this. When the Acclaimed first started, nobody was a fan of them. Their fanfare just rose as they went on. It was awesome when they won the tag team titles. It sucked when they lost them. And ever since then, my question is, ever since they lost those tag titles, have you not been wanting to see them win the championships again? How awesome would it be to add in Billy Gunn and be Trios champions?
I think their popularity would just explode.
It would, even more than it already is. And I hope that they win these titles on Sunday. I hope they do. I hope we don't get the hype of Billy Gunn coming back as badass Billy Gunn only for them to lose. And we better not get a cheap, disqualification or count out win either.
I hope not. God, I hope not. They didn't build up his story just for it to end like that. I hope not. Or maybe they did. I don't know. And then we get another match at All In. Or All Out. I don't know. But who knows? But Will, what did you think of this?
I think it's perfect timing. I didn't buy the Billy Gunn retiring thing. I thought there might be an angle coming, but him coming back now and challenging it all out, like, I'm here for it. I think it'll be a good match. I think it'll be quality. And when it's all said and done, it'll be hopefully the Acclaimed with those trios titles. Kane, that is a far stretch, bro. The Acclaimed are not this generation's DX. The Acclaimed went from jobbers to Scissor Me movement that rocked them to stardom. I will say that's true. To say they're this generation's DX is a little bit of a far stretch.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of. They're not on the level of DX, maybe. No, but they're. I don't know. They're kind of there, I guess, in my opinion. I don't know.
Maybe close to a cleaner version, but
oh yeah, for sure.
Not the level that the actual D Generation X.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll agree to this then. How about this? They are to DX what the Outcasts are to NWO.
That's fair.
Okay.
Because you can tell they're not a ripoff, but they're definitely paying homage to something. Yeah. I will say the Acclaimed are paying homage to DX in certain ways. Right. I would not say they are this generation's DX. They aren't that polarizing group that's changing wrestling. We won't be talking about the Acclaimed in 25 years the way we talk about DX today.
No, probably not.
Like the Outcasts, we're getting the green spray paint with them spray painting what they spray paint, which NWO did the NWO. And instead of the crotch chop, we're getting scissors.
That's fair. And that's what I was kind of touching on too before Will had said it was they're not that, I guess decade defining group like DX was. DX, DX changed the game completely, so yeah, I can understand that. That makes sense. Okay, so now, ladies and gentlemen, it is main event time with the Hardy Boys in Aussie Open. I don't really care to see Ring of Honor stuff on AEW. Obviously, it just doesn't make any sense. Because I'm a fan of Aussie Open. Aussie Open, I think, is a great tag team right now. They're building up a lot of steam right now, so I think they would be a great addition to the tag team division when they eventually, drop the Ring of Honor tag team titles and they are on the, I guess you could say main roster. So, but yeah, I didn't really care to see this. Obviously, I just don't care to see Ring of Honor stuff on AEW. Just keep Ring of Honor, keep AEW, and we'll be all right. But after the match, they obviously called out Better Than You, Baby, which they have a match on the pre-show at All In. And a fight breaks out, obviously. Now, at one point, Cole almost super kicks MJF. And then, of course, MJF catches his leg and gives him the death stare of all death stares. And then eventually, at one point, shoulder checks him. And then even teased using the Dynamite Diamond ring, but chooses not to. He puts it away. And then our program ends with them face-to-face with MJF holding up the AEW World Championship. What do we think of this? Will, what did you think of this?
Cinema. It was good. Quality story. You think about the way the story is being built. Both of them have told you in little snippets or ways that they're not beyond turning. That's why I think what I said earlier in the episode makes sense. Adam Cole will go to make the turn happen. He will get caught, which will lead to MJF being MJF. So I still think that it's going to be some version of a double turn. And I think that it's going to start at the buy-in and end at the main event, just like tonight did. It started with Adam Cole and MJF's individual interviews, and then it built to the main event with them looking awful angry with each other.
I like it. Sticking to your guns. Mike.
Memphis gets over everywhere, baby.
I mean, like I said, like you said earlier, you know, we can't trust MJF because we've had him try to do the babyface thing in the past, but he simply turned. This time around, pulled out the diamond ring, took it back off, threw it in his pocket. If this was the old MJF, he would have done it. But he didn't do it. They end up celebrating at the end. I have a feeling, again, that Adam Cole is going to be turning. I'm sticking with it. Adam Cole is going to be turning on MJF, possibly during that tag match. Or Roderick Strong is going to help him at the end of the night during the world title match. Either way, Adam Cole is going to be the heel at the end of this story. And as far as going into, and it will continue into All Out. It will. Because if MJF I have two conclusions here. If MJF ends up walking out of Wembley as world champion, then I think we're going to get a match between him and CM Punk at All Out. But if Cole ends up walking out as world champion, we'll end up getting the rematch at All Out. Because the story's already built. They just would need to fill in the little voids throughout the week during Collision and Dynamite and possibly during the Friday Night Show Rampage. They just need to fill in those voids.
I like it. But gentlemen, that concludes Dynamite for 8/23/2023. And yeah. Mike, where can we find you?
You can find me at Metalcore Mike on TikTok and Instagram. You can find me at Metalcore Mike Gaming on Twitch. Metalcore Mike 86 on Snapchat and the X, no longer, well, formerly Twitter. And you can find me on the Table Spot on Rivet City Radio's Twitch and YouTube channel every Sunday night live at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And you can also catch me on Prince's Movie Madness at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday evenings.
Absolutely. Will, where can we find you?
You can find me anywhere you do anything on the internet at the Will Gray, except for Facebook, because I refuse to get on the devil's website. If you check my link tree at the Will Gray, you'll find all of my shenanigans for Botch Bots and Chair Shots, Rivet City Radio, Creatia World. You'll find all of my dirt sheet writing at Last Word on Sports, Sportster, Pro Wrestling Stories. Pretty much, you know, what I do. You'll find it there. The Will Gray.
You can find me on TikTok at Cam's Wrestling Corner and on my other TikTok page at Call Me Cam G. And of course, here every Wednesday night for the Boom, next week for episode 5. And of course, on Friday nights for Friday Night Review with me, my boy Scows, Shadow, and Jamie, of course. And yeah, that concludes our show. I appreciate everybody that came by and stopped by the show. Thank you very much for stopping by. Peace, love, and prosperity. Boom.
Boom.
You know it's all about